Hello everyone, welcome back to Dad's Gaming ZHP 2004 here, and we're going to talk about the latest hopper updates for the beta Forza race regulations, as far as collision penalties and if they've done anything with the track cutting, track extension penalties, and a little bit about the ending of an era. It was announced August will be the final update for Forza Motorsport 7. We're going to talk a little bit about that first. The game's been out almost 2 years now, so I have to, give it the turn 10 for, sticking with the game so long, especially considering the first couple months. Let's face it, the game had problems. And they worked through it and got it, better. Not everything is perfect and not everything is for everyone. So there was a lot of input from the community as to, things that they wanted. And one of them was, drag racing, and they did the experimental drag race. And nothing much more came of that. But the big thing was, the racing penalties. And especially, corner cutting and the rammers. Now with the ghosting of the back markers, that is probably one of the biggest improvements, I think, to the game. Personally, I'd like to see, the corner cutting penalty systems implemented on a more full-time basis, and maybe Forza Motorsport 8, which will come out in 2020. There won't be a motorsport game coming out this year, so that'll come out with probably the new Microsoft Project Scarlet. If any of you guys have seen or heard about that, obviously Microsoft's working on a new console, so my guess would be Forza Motorsport 8, or whatever it may be called at that point, will probably roll out with that console. So I'm kind of hoping that Turn 10 takes the hard lessons learned and really works on putting out a better product from day one versus what Forza Motorsport 7 was. But I think the race regulations, major improvement. It's a shame, for the Ultimate users, the rollout of the perks at the beginning, and we really didn't get any expansions. I mean, other than DLC cars, there weren't any track expansions or things like that in the game, which I was a little disappointed about. I really wanted some tracks, but we got what we got, and this is the hand that we are dealt, so this is what we're going to play. And we're going to hop here into two of the beta Forza race regulations. So again, stock cars, base cars for everybody. Going to run the Forza GT ZR1 Corvettes around Road America. And starting out in the back. And I have no words for, the dive bomb there. I guess there's still a couple guys or people realizing that, hey, there's a new update. Let's push and see how many penalties we can get, but that's not the way I do it. I run it just like a normal race, especially with this being in a public lobby. I didn't want to be that guy to just start ramming people off just to see what's good, what's not. I rather take the approach, well, let's run the race and see what the outcome would be. Best case, worst case scenario. But just, an average, if we were just running a normal race, like there were no regulations, no, corner cutting penalties, no ramming penalties, no bumping penalties, how would the racing be? So, right now we're sitting at no penalties. There's a little bit of bumping, a little bit of rubbing, And it's nice that they don't penalize you for every little nudge or every little bump from the side. I know they had worked on it, and a lot of things that come into play, whether, if you're slowing down, try to get under someone, depending how hard you hit them, where you hit them. And, right there, I just back out. I'm not going to try to go 3 wide there. Those guys are battling enough and all over the track, but we'll go ahead and get the cut back here and have a little drag race up the front stretch. Just give everybody room. But yeah, so we're still sitting on 0 seconds worth of penalties. See the guy right next to us there, he's got a little bit. The guy in front of us doesn't have anything. So a lot of people were running it pretty clean, which was nice to see. So it was a good race. This was the first race in the hopper, and I did 3 races, and for some reason I just didn't capture the last race. So I went in here. I get bumped to the inside. No penalty for the collision, but I get a corner cutting penalty. So not quite sure how I could have avoided that, but yeah, I guess I'll just have to take it and run with it, which is what we do here. So not a great race. I mean, it was a decent race. We didn't really make any positions up here, but again, we're just kind of riding around back here, and the pack is still pretty close together, which is nice to see. So as far as the race regulations thus far, it's well, it is what it is. There's you're not going to be able to fix it, or you're not going to be able to change it. You can complain all you want. Well, I got pushed out wide here, or I got cut across the grass there. But the system's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect unless you have marshals watching every race live, and that's not what the game is about. It is a game. So, but we're gonna come down here and see if maybe just hold on to this position. We're pretty far behind the guy in front of us. Got a little gap to the people behind us, so we may just settle for this. And we'll move on to the next race here. So, all in all, we got a 1/4 second penalty. And, oh, I'm sorry, guys. We still got one more lap of this. Holy smoke. And, yeah, it's pretty good, I guess I will say. It's something we're going to have to live with. So, you're either going to enjoy the race regulation hoppers, and I think over time, just like when these first came out and everybody was kind of pushing the limits, saying, oh, hey, there's no barriers, we can cut here, cut there, and whatnot. And I know Forza, Turn 10, they've worked on improving the systems as far as DNFing an entire rest of the field. If you cut out whole sections of the track and you got so far ahead, you could DNF the field even though you had a minute's worth of penalties, because people would normally only have 45 seconds to complete a race, but they have since fixed that. So I think probably in the next couple weeks, this hopper will probably be cleaner. I mean, this wasn't a bad group of people that I was in here with. Again, I wasn't really running with anybody more or less the whole race here. We got closest competitor. We closed it up, and we're gonna try. I back out. I hit the brakes because I just would have driven into the back of them, and really wasn't trying to do that. So I just didn't want to incur the penalty, and they really didn't have one. So if I had incurred one getting past them and got past them, well, then I might have half a second gap that I need to beat them by instead of a 1/4 second gap. So right now I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, well, maybe I can get a cut back here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go for the cutback, keep it on the track. I'm going to go for the drag race here. I'm going to beat him to the line, but probably not going to be enough to really secure the position. So, we finished there in 9th, but overall we're going to wind up giving that spot back because of the penalty. So, 10th place, a lot of clean laps in that race. That was nice to see. So we're going to move to Laguna Seca in the Mazda MX-5 Cup cars. And this turned out to be a pretty close race, and we started out and I realized I forgot to change back to manual with clutch, and I'm stuck with manual, so it is slower, as many people have already attested to. But this is going to be a pretty close pack the entire race. I think the top 12 guys are going to be within a few hundred feet of each other for a majority of this. We see we're here mid-pack, 7th place, still getting used to the car and getting used to the fact that I don't have a clutch. But right now, it's a clean race, considering the guys that are kind of leaning on each other up there. You see little puffs of smoke every now and then. And we got one penalty on the guy up in front of us. We got a guy behind us with a penalty. So on a course like that, it's really going to be about minimizing your penalties, especially the track cutting at Laguna Seca, and really being mindful of the guys that are around you, and not running up on them. Knowing where the braking zones are, especially in a pack. You're probably braking a little earlier than you want to, because the guys up ahead might be braking a little earlier, and you have to compensate for that. You just really got to be on your toes, especially with the front. Probably 8 or 9 of us almost nose to tail at this point. I mean, you just see that whole gaggle of cars, and 2 wide down the front stretch. Nobody's getting away from anybody here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to more or less see that for 3 laps. So, lower power cars. I think people are a little more comfortable, driving in a group, because the reaction times are slower, as opposed to running something in, let's say like P class, where you may not be able to react. Even some of the best drivers, I don't even know, if somebody's sim twitches or lags for a second, it could destroy a lobby of guys that are running this close together. But in the lower class cars, it's fun. And it looks like, I guess there's a little bit of bumping and rubbing, maybe a little bit of track cutting up ahead of us. Everybody's, nobody's gone flying off the track, we'll put it that way, because I haven't passed anybody in a lap and a half at this point. So we're going to try to go 2 wide. No, never mind. I'm just going to bail out. And we'll smack him in the rear bumper. But again, did not incur a penalty. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't like I was trying to shove him wide to get past him. I just had a little better run out of there. So I got on the brakes. And he cuts the corkscrew, and I run right into him. And we're going to lose a spot. So we gained a quick spot, and then we lost a spot. So we're still here in 7th place. And we have 8th place right on our tail. And we're going to go 1 more lap here around Laguna Seca and see if we can't improve. Normally I would not be happy with a 7th place finish. But, this was just... It was a good race. It was, there wasn't any real carnage going on that I could see, as opposed to, some of the other hoppers. I'll probably have videos up for them in the near future, hopefully. But yeah, so the new race regulations, I think they've done a good job. and I'm looking forward to see what Turn 10 brings us in August for the, final revision of whatever we're gonna live with for the next year and a half until, the fall of 2020, when hopefully that's when Forza Motorsport 8 should come out. But guys, I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch and listen. This is just a little bit, I guess, of my own opinion, and I guess a little bit of a rant on where Forza Motorsport stands today. And I guess I really hope in the future we see better things from the start, and a nice finished product that everyone can enjoy. But that's more or less gonna wrap it up for us on this one, guys. Again, I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, leave a comment. Reach me on Xbox. You can leave me a message here on YouTube. And we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.